You are not going to starve because you did not buy enough gold. You are going to starve because when money died, you were holding shiny metal in a world that suddenly only cared about calories, clean water, safety, and pain relief. Picture this. It is a Tuesday morning. The news has been bad for months, but today it breaks. Markets freeze, trading halts. The dollar crashes almost half its value in a single day. Banks announce a temporary holiday. ATMs show out of service across the entire city. By noon, cards stop working. The gas station lines stretch around the block. By evening, shelves are stripped because everyone just realized their paper is melting. You go home, open the safe, and look at the stack of gold and silver you have been told will protect you when the system fails. You feel good for about 10 seconds, then your kid asks, "What is for dinner?" Your partner says, "The pharmacy was already closed, I could not get your meds." Your neighbor knocks on the door and quietly asks, "Do you have any extra food?" You cannot eat bullion, you cannot drink it, you cannot bandage a wound with it. You could walk to a local shop and offer a 1-ounce gold coin for some bread and painkillers, but here is the brutal truth. In the first weeks of real collapse, most people will not know how to value that coin, will not be able to make change for it, and will not trust that it is even real. They will trade for something else. Every prepper finance guru, every bullion dealer, every economic collapse channel has been selling you a partial truth. Gold and silver are wealth insurance. They are not day-one survival currency. When money dies, real currency becomes brutally simple. Can it keep me alive today? Can it reduce my suffering right now? Do I trust this trade will not get me killed? Now you are going to see 7 real currencies that actually matter when money collapses. Not theories, not collector items. The things human beings always end up trading for in every real breakdown of a monetary system. From Weimar Germany to Yugoslavia to Argentina to Venezuela. Gold and silver might help you after a reset when new rules are written. But in the months when there are no rules, these are what people beg, borrow, and bleed for. The first one is the most boring, least glamorous, and most brutally powerful. Currency 1, calories, the only ledger your body cares about when money dies, the economy does not stop. The unit changes. You cannot eat paper, but you can eat 2,000 calories. You know what 2,000 calories looks like in a collapse. It is a full day where your hands do not shake. Your brain still works. You do not make life-ending mistakes because your body is eating itself. Every human you meet in that world is on the same clock, 3 days without water, roughly 3 weeks without food, but functional failure long before that. In every historical collapse, food becomes the base currency first. Not fancy freeze-dried backpacking meals, not tactical rations. Staples, grain, beans, oil, salt, sugar, protein, the boring stuff. Real survival calories need 3 traits. First, shelf-stable, rice, beans, oats, wheat, pasta, flour, canned meat, lentils, powdered milk. Properly stored, many of these last years or even decades. Second, calorie-dense. Cooking oil, peanut butter, lard, sugar. A single gallon of vegetable oil is around 30,000 calories. That is close to 2 weeks of energy for one person. Third, divisible. You can trade a cup of rice, a handful of beans, a small bottle of oil. You cannot easily make change from a 1-ounce gold coin. In a dead money scenario, your pantry turns into a bank. Every pound of rice is a stack of emergency coins you can eat or trade, and it is not just survival staples. It is comfort staples, coffee, tea. Sugar, chocolate, instant noodles, seasonings, and bouillon cubes that make terrible food taste okay. When people are scared, hungry, and exhausted, comfort is not a luxury. It is a drug. They will give up far more than you think for 5 minutes of normal. Calories, especially comforting, familiar calories, are a better currency than gold for one simple reason. Gold is abstract value. Food is immediate life. Most people cannot test or weigh a coin properly. Everyone understands what hunger feels like. Currency 2, water and the power to make it safe. If food is long horizon survival, water is the 72-hour clock. You can go hungry for a day and still function. Try going truly dry for 24 hours while stressed and moving. Now imagine this. Municipal pumps lose power. Treatment plants run out of chemicals. City tap water starts coming out brown if it comes out at all. In that world, the person who can turn dirty water into safe water controls a currency more powerful than any coin. There are 2 sides to this. Side 1 is physical water, stored in barrels, jugs, tanks. Caught from rain with barrels and tarps. Hauled from streams, ponds, pools. Side 2 is purification capacity. Filters, bleach, iodine, ceramic, gravity filters, do-it-yourself slow sand filters. The knowledge of how long to boil, how much chlorine to add, how to avoid recontamination. People will trade almost anything for these. A gallon of unquestionably safe water. A chlorine dose that turns 5 gallons of suspect water into life instead of diarrhea and dehydration. A replacement filter element when their cheap survival straw clogs and dies. You do not have to be the person with a hidden lake. You can be the person with decent storage, a couple of robust filtration methods, some bulk calcium hypochlorite or purification tablets, and the discipline to keep your own supply ahead. In every refugee camp, every disaster zone, every war story, water and sanitation decide who gets sick and who stays functional. In a currency collapse, the sterilized gallon and the good filter become units of trade more meaningful than printed bills. You can trade a cup of water. You cannot easily trade a sliver of gold to someone who has not had a clean drink in 48 hours. Currency 3, pain relief and health. The medicine nobody priced in gold is theoretical safety. Pain is immediate reality. Ask anyone who has lived through a war zone or a long disaster what people beg for when things break down. It is not retirement accounts. It is relief. The mother whose child has a 103-degree fever. The man with a cracked tooth who has not slept in 3 nights. The woman with infected cuts from hauling debris through sewage-filled water. In a functioning society, you barely think about any of this because a pharmacy is on every corner. In a broken society, basic medicine becomes black market treasure. This is not about hospital-only drugs. This is about things you can buy right now, legally and cheaply. Pain relievers like acetaminophen and ibuprofen. Anti-inflammatory medication. Anti-diarrheal medicine like loperamide. Antihistamines for allergic reactions. Sterile bandages, gauze, tape, disinfectants like povidone, iodine, alcohol, hydrogen peroxide. Topical antibiotics and basic wound care supplies. Oral rehydration salts or the ingredients to make them, which are simply salt, sugar, and clean water. And beyond the bottles, soap, toothpaste and toothbrushes, feminine hygiene products, gloves. In every collapsed currency scenario, these become luxury goods overnight because production, import, and distribution halt. The person who can sanitize a wound, stop diarrhea before dehydration kills, bring a fever down, and provide a clean bandage instead of a dirty rag is holding a currency more powerful than any coin. The power to reduce suffering and prevent death. People will trade food, labor, security, and yes, gold and silver for that. Important note: this is not a license to play doctor beyond your training. Skills matter as much as supplies here. But if you stock even a modest medical kit now, with the intention to learn how to use it properly, you are building a bank of human relief that far outperforms precious metals when the pharmacy gates are locked. Currency 4, energy and light, the new electricity bills. In a dead money world, the grid is likely dead too, or barely limping. Backup generators are loud and thirsty, which can make you a target. But power itself, quiet, small, useful power, is a currency. Think about a single bright lantern in a pitch-black building. A charged phone or radio when everyone else's battery died 2 days ago. The ability to recharge AA or AAA batteries for flashlights, headlamps, and radios. In a collapse, electricity stops being a flat monthly bill. It becomes measured in units of trust. Can you charge this for me? Can you give me light for a few hours? Can you run this communication device? If you have a small solar panel setup, a battery bank, direct current lights and USB chargers, or a micro-hydro or thermoelectric system, you are not just self-sufficient, you are a micro-utility. You can trade something as simple as one phone charge for food. You can rent a lantern for the night in exchange for labor or supplies. You can swap freshly charged batteries for a bag of rice. And here is the leverage. Most people will not understand how your system works. They just see that you can turn darkness into light and dead electronics into living ones. That feels like magic in a world gone dark. You do not need huge wattage. You need enough to keep your own core systems running and a small surplus to trade. Energy you can store and share quietly becomes a new unit of currency. Fuel can be stolen. Power infrastructure that you own, maintain, and understand is much harder to confiscate. Currency 5, tools and the ability to repair what is breaking. Collapse does not just destroy money. It breaks things: shoes, backpacks, doors, bikes, stoves, generators, solar setups, fences. The modern world trained people to replace, not repair. So when the store is gone and a crucial item breaks, most people are stuck. That is where the 5th currency appears. Repaired functionality. You do not need to be a master engineer. But if you can patch a shoe sole, stitch torn fabric, fix a bike chain, mend a cracked backpack strap, reattach a door hinge, solder a broken wire, or get a dead small engine running again, you have a skill that converts trash back into tools. Add to that the physical consumables and hardware that disappear first. Needles, heavy thread, safety pins, buttons, duct tape, super glue, epoxy, screws, nails, nuts, bolts. Spare blades, saws, hand tools, sharpening stones. These are cheap now, so cheap you barely notice them. In a supply chain collapse, they are irreplaceable. The repair person historically does not starve in hard times. People find them because they turn broken into working. That is currency. You can be that person or at least contribute to that capability. The neighbor with the sewing kit. The person who can fix zippers. The one who knows how to keep the community's bikes rolling. Gold sits in a safe while things rust and tear. Tools and skills put other people's lives back together, and they will pay for that. Currency 6, safety and the right to sleep. This is the darkest one and the one almost nobody likes to talk about honestly. When money dies, the monopoly on force evaporates. Police are underfunded, overwhelmed, or not showing up. Courts are irrelevant to people who do not know if they will eat next week. Suddenly, the most scarce commodity in your world is something you have taken for granted your entire life. The ability to close your eyes and sleep without being attacked. In that world, safety is currency. Not movie-style gunfights and action scenes, not endless ammo fantasies, practical safety. A locked door that actually holds, a group of people willing and able to defend each other, watch rotations at night, basic fortification and early warning setups. Deterrence, the sense from the outside that your place is not worth attacking. This currency is traded all the time in broken societies. Gangs protect neighborhoods for tribute. Armed groups trade safety for supplies. Organized communities pool food in exchange for shared defense duties. You do not have to like it, but pretending it does not happen is how you get rolled. Your choices are simple. Be a soft target hoping nobody notices. Be part of a predatory force. Or be part of a mutual defense network that trades security fairly on the inside and deterrence on the outside. In practical terms, your safety currency looks like solid doors and locks, reinforced entries, light and noise discipline, a small trusted group, communication, clear rules, and lawful self-defense capacity with real training. People with no safety will trade almost anything for one safe night, especially if they have children. Gold can attract violence. Safety repels it. Being one of the few who can realistically offer better odds of safety is a dark but undeniable form of currency when money is gone. Currency 7, reputation, skills, and the network that knows your name. Everything so far has focused on objects and functions, but there is one currency that outlasts all of them, and it starts now, not on collapse day: your reputation. In a functioning world, reputation is soft. You can fake it with social media, job titles, and appearances. In a broken world, reputation is hard currency. Does this person do what they say? Have they cheated anyone? Are they calm under pressure? Do they bring skills that matter? Do they panic, steal, lie, or fold? Because here is the uncomfortable truth. In real collapse, you do not survive alone for very long. You survive in groups, families, neighborhoods, ad hoc communities, mutual aid circles. Groups are built on trust and value. If before anything goes wrong, you are the neighbor who helps quietly, the person who shares knowledge instead of just opinions, the one who shows up and fixes things, the person who does not gossip and backstab. Then when times get hard, people will remember. You will be invited in instead of shut out. You will be trusted with information. You will get first access to trade offers. Now add skills, medical knowledge, even basic. Mechanical, electrical, carpentry, farming, cooking. Teaching, organizing, calming people down, planning. Skills are non-confiscatable currency. A thief can take your gold. They cannot take your ability to treat a wound, fix a pump, organize a food distribution, or teach kids to read. In every collapsed economy, the richest survivors were not always the ones who had the most stuff at the beginning. They were the ones whose names traveled ahead of them as good to trade with, knows what they are doing, does not cheat. You want this person in your group. That is currency. You build it with every interaction now while the lights are still on. So where do gold and silver fit in? Gold and silver are not useless. They are just mistimed in the way they are usually sold to you. In the chaotic months of a fresh collapse, people are pricing gasoline, bread, water, and safety. They do not have time, tools, or trust to test and price your coins. They would rather trade based on what they can touch, taste, and use. Later, when things stabilize, when a new local currency emerges, when people start thinking about wealth, not just survival, gold and silver can matter again. They are good at moving compressed value across time, crossing borders quietly, and acting as long-term savings when paper lies. But they will not stop a fever. They will not fill your water jugs. They will not keep your house from being quietly stripped while you sleep. So if you already own metals, fine, treat them as your long-horizon savings, not your frontline survival plan. Just do not confuse them with the first-layer currencies, because when money dies, the first trades will not be, "I will give you a bit of silver for that." They will be, "I will watch your place tonight if you share food. I will fix your broken well if you help my family with medicine. I can charge your radio if you give me some grain." That is the real economy. It has been for thousands of years under every empire and every crash. The pattern and what you do with it. Now look at the 7 currencies again. Calories, food and comfort staples, water and purification, liquid life and the ability to make it safe. Pain relief and health, medicine and hygiene. Energy and light, stored and shareable power. Tools and repair, turning broken back into working. Safety, the right to sleep without fear. Reputation and skills, the network that wants you around. Every one of these is immediately useful, divisible, verifiable without special tools, and often renewable. That is why they become currency when abstract numbers printed on paper stop meaning anything. You do not have to become a doomsday hoarder to act on this. You start small, deliberately. Add real staples to your pantry, rotate them, learn to cook them. Store water and learn to purify it 3 different ways. Build a serious but basic medical kit and take a first aid course. Set up a modest, quiet off-grid power system sized for essentials. Stock simple repair supplies and practice fixing things instead of replacing them. Improve your home's physical security within the law. Invest in your skills and your relationships like they are your real savings, because they are. You can keep your gold and silver if you want, just do not stop there. Because when money dies, the economy does not end. It just stops pretending that shiny metal and printed paper are more important than the only things they were ever meant to represent. Life, comfort, safety, and trust. Those are the 7 real currencies. Stack them now quietly while everyone else argues about interest rates. When the music stops, they will be holding promises. You will be holding reality.